This is my pixel art game Atlanta TD, where you control multiverse variants of ancient Greek gods. I'm about 2.5 years into development and we're finally getting into some art. So let's recap our recent progress. We've been working on characters in Sprite, getting them animated, and now we have placeable characters. I also overhauled the art pipeline so that we don't need to mess around with the animations anymore. To create a new character, all we have to do is draw them up, slap them in, and create a new sprite library for them. And no longer will your hard work go unnoticed as well, because heroes now have dialogue and can thank you for the hard-earned upgrade. You can even annoy them by pressing the hidden button. Now, a funny thing happens when you work on art, it makes everything else look bad. So I did a bit of code, pressed a few buttons, and reworked our user interface design. I reworked the bestiary where you can read all about your favorite heroes, or even unlock their upgrade paths using the hero experience points. I also created the library where you can purchase permanent upgrades for your heroes. We then spent a bit of time doing some concept art and environment art to help build the aesthetic of this first level. The theme is blue. I wrote a simple parallax script, dragged it onto our background, and now we have a level. I also did a bit of code, put it onto a cloud, and now we have moving clouds. We also designed a rock, then we animated the rock breaking. We put them in the levels, and now you can break rocks. And if you're lucky, you might even find some treasure inside. Previously, when completing a room, we had a little pop-up that would appear to indicate how to progress, but this didn't always make sense because some rooms had requirements for entry that weren't really shown. And with all the changes, this needed to go too. I wrote a new class for the room data which supports all different types of rooms. This means we also now have a room pool. Now all we have to do is create a new room scriptable object, put the room types in, give it some rewards, and give it a difficulty scaling. The next part with the setup was actually creating a logical and meaningful progression built in. It started with just having random rooms be displayed, but this still wasn't perfect as there were cases where the options displayed were impossible to enter with no way to re-roll. Or you'd be in the shop and have the shop as another option to enter. I came up with a set of rules on how rooms can interact with each other. This was pretty basic. It was pretty much rules for entering the room and rules for exiting the room. So to get to a healing room, you would have to come from a challenge room, or a shop can't progress to another shop. I updated the scriptable object, and now the options make sense. Hopefully this also means that every run will be different. And speaking of different, I reworked my map generator to support better procedural maps, so the room pool possibility will be even bigger. There's easy maps which just have a single path, medium maps with branching paths, and hard maps which have branching paths and multiple start or end possibilities. In Sprite, I animated some cracks onto a tile, I dragged it into Unity, did a bit of code, and now enemies can spawn through the cracks. Now, if you're an elite gamer and you notice these cracks, placing a hero on top of it will block them off, making them unable to spawn in. I animated another tile, this one's a springboard. I gave it some particles, and now when you place a hero on it, they fly away. This is usually a bad thing. I also designed a new room. This is the smithing hut, which is the in-game shop. I've been working on a bunch of items that you can purchase during your run to help you out in different ways. I also extended the hero's logic to support these items in synergistic ways. Now you can purchase an item, place your hero, and attach the item to them as a buff. The last few days I've also spent working on simulating 3D lighting in the pixel art world. This involves creating our tile sprite sheet, getting the normals of the color, and attaching it as a texture. Then we can use Unity's universal render pipeline to attach lights that use the normal textures to provide realistic lighting. But we're still pretty early into this process, so I'll save this for a future video. That's all the big updates for now. If you want to support the development of this game, then subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Thanks!